Sarah, this one's bad. I met this guy on a dating app and he looked so hot in his photos. When we met in real life, he was at least 20 years older, 40 pounds heavier, and straight up said, sorry, I used my nephew's photos. Figured I'd get more swipes. Isn't that like a scam?
Yeah, that's a big catfish. Having a boyfriend that's in his 40s, he's more mature, he's more experienced with life, he can provide a lot of good insight and support. You need to start strength training because as we get older, we lose bone density, we lose muscle mass, and for women, especially once you hit 40, strength training is so important.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Tall Blonde. Everybody and welcome back to Tall Blonde. Today I am with a fun guest. It is Kelsey Rose. Beautiful name, by the way.
Thank you.
And we are getting into all things fitness, all things lifestyle. She has her own brand named Shape. Let's just get into it. I want to talk about, Miami itself and the move from Toronto to Miami, but I also need to get, everything to do with fitness and your balanced lifestyle. You have your own brand, Shape Co. So let's dive into that first because I feel like that's going to be a big chunk of this too.
Yeah.
So talk to me how you got into content creation and majority of your content. Some of it's lifestyle too, but majority of it would be fitness.
Wellness, fitness. Yeah.
And nutrition.
Yeah. And nutrition, I would say. A lot of recipes.
Yes.
A lot of recipe inspo for everyone. So I actually went to school for 5 years for teaching. I'm almost 10 years old.
Teaching?
Yeah, I'm almost 10 years older than you.
Okay. You don't look it at all.
Thanks to the Botox. No, just kidding. Thanks to all the healthy eating and
there you go.
Healthy practices.
A mix of everything.
Yeah. So I went to school for 5 years for teaching.
Okay.
And then when I graduated, it takes a really long time in Ontario to get a teaching job. So I was
So you went to school in Toronto?
Yeah, I went to school at Brock in Niagara Falls.
Gotcha.
And after I moved to Toronto, and I was working in the clubs, and at the same time, I was trying to figure out, how can I still apply all of this knowledge I've just learned the past 5 years, paid a lot of money for from teaching and having my degree, but still be in more so of the wellness fitness space because my whole life I played sports. I was so active. It was just ingrained in me and I loved it, but I wanted to still help other people with their fitness and their wellness in general. So I actually got my personal training certificate.
Oh, okay.
After I graduated, and I started working in high schools teaching a fitness certification, which was part of a government-funded program in Ontario. I created the program from A to Z.
Oh, you created it?
Yeah, I created it.
Wow.
I pitched it to the school boards. I ended up getting into 4 different school boards, was doing that. But when I go there to one school for one day, it's done after the day. So it wasn't consistent enough. Yeah, I couldn't go back till next year and do the next group of students.
It wasn't like you're checking in, following up, giving them homework.
Yeah, it was like a one-day certification. They get the certification at the end of the 5 hours, and that was it. So that's when I had already gotten my personal training certificate because, of course, I needed that to be able to teach people all these things. And so I started taking on clients. I started personal training. I started doing group fitness in Toronto. That turned into doing corporate wellness retreats. At one point, I had an activewear line where I was, me and my best friend were selling merch. And then at some point, about, I would say 8 or 9 years ago, I started my Instagram. I really didn't want to. I've always been a very private person.
Yep, 8 or 9 years ago?
Yeah.
So that would be...
It was 2016.
16? Okay.
Yeah, it was 2016. I really should have went on it 2 years before. All of my friends were like, you need to go, you start your Instagram, share your fitness stuff. And I just didn't really want to. And then finally my best friend was like, no, we're starting you an account. And she helped me with all my posting and editing. We
Good
did it together. She, my best friend still to this day, pushed me into it. And then from there, everything just evolved. And then 2020 came. Everything that I was doing was in person. And I had to shift. So I started my app, Shape, which is workouts, mindfulness, and nutrition. There's recipes, meal plans, all the things. And thankfully, the pandemic a good thing for me that came out of it was it like launched me into this online space where I was now
almost,
way
probably.
more dialed into my content because I had to be. That was, you know, during that time, even before I started Shape in later 2020.
Were you here already in
Miami? What else can you do?
Miami?
No, I was still in Toronto.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was still in Toronto. And yeah, I literally made my app in 30 days in my living room in Toronto. I didn't build the app. I use a third-party company that basically hosts apps and online fitness websites, platforms. And we're 2025, and now I've been here for almost like 2.5, 3 years.
And you're content? You're liking it?
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And I mean, traveling, like you said, you were born in Waterloo, was raised there, then you went to school in Niagara Falls, then you lived in Toronto, then you came to Miami. Like, you've done a lot of big transitions probably in your life. I mean, that's in motivation in itself to be able to adapt to different places. Like making friends, I think in 20s is really hard for a lot of people. And then finding, you know, yourself and what you want to do in different areas too, I think is hard. How did you make friends when you moved to Miami, or even make friends when you moved to Toronto?
Yeah. So when I was in Toronto, it was kind of different because I was working in clubs at that time. So even my best friends now that are in that city all came from my work environment. So that was easy because I was going into work every day and I was surrounded by so many people.
Yeah.
And I feel like now in 2025, no matter like what you look, if you give an example of a work environment, it's very rare to be surrounded by so many people. A lot of people are working from home. A lot of people are in the office, but some people are working from home and not really talking to each other.
Yeah.
It's such a disengaged society now, whereas back then, even though it was only 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was still just a lot different. So I made a lot of friends that way when I was in Toronto. And, you know, again, just being around so many people, even customers, you meet connections through friends, whatever. That's how I know Ernesto. Like, you just meet so many people. And then when I came to Miami, same thing. I already knew so many people from Toronto were moving here. And so many people.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
Like,
and there's always people also visiting.
Yeah.
So I never felt like alone, but it was definitely more of a struggle in Miami and still to this day to really find like-minded people that are real, that I connect with, that I have similar interests with.
That you want to go out of your way to hang out with.
Yeah. So that's kind of been for the past 2.5, it's been just over 2 years since I've been here. That's definitely been a struggle, but in the beginning, I just forced myself to go in different environments where there were other people around, like any event that I got invited to, whether it was, you know, something that I really wanted to go
like
to or not.
Like social media events?
Yeah, like PR, social media events, brand events. Even if I was like, that doesn't really sound like so interesting, I would force myself to go. Alone? And yeah, I would go alone.
That's tough too.
Yeah, because, and then in the end, some of those events that I attended, I ended up making such great connections for whether it was for friendship, for business, for work, and yeah, so I'm happy that I did that. But another thing that I did intentionally was I actually got into paddle.
Okay, what's paddle?
Paddle is a sport.
Okay. Is it like big here in Miami?
Yeah. It's,
okay, I've never heard of paddle.
Yeah, it's actually huge. It's almost a cross of tennis, pickleball, squash.
Everyone's on the pickleball rave now.
Well, they are, but they're moving to paddle. That is like, you know, you're being social. You're not being forced to drink or eat, but you can like go and meet people and you're in the sun and you can actually do an activity. And you're active. And it's there's 4 people to a court and the court's a lot smaller versus tennis. Okay. So like having conversation with literally everyone is a lot easier. And people also go there to just be out
mix
and be
social.
Mingle. Yeah, mix and mingle.
Which I like. And you're having that like athletic kind of thing put into, even if people are, you know, going out after for a drink, you still have something that keeps you active too in it.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you worked at a bar. So a lot of my followers are from ages like 16 to 35. So a lot of them are, you know, wanting to be more fit, wanting to be healthier, wanting to live a more balanced lifestyle. I mean, I am a victim of that too. I always have those goals going into the new year, but I'm a very social person, so I tend to go out every weekend, and a lot of my followers say the same thing. Can you give some tips from being in the scene and things to where you are now with wellness and living a balanced lifestyle? And of course, in your 20s, it's hard to, especially if you're single and you're wanting to meet people or you want to have that outlet after work and things like that. What was your kind of transition into living a more healthier, balanced lifestyle?
Well, I had a little bit of a different experience because I was working in clubs for so long. So from when I was like 18 or 19 until I was 26.
Okay.
And definitely in my late teens, when I was, of course, legal, 19, wasn't drinking until 19, 19, 20, 21, 22. Like, I was, like, there was no balance. I was drinking, I was
Freely.
Going out, I was partying, I had the time of my life. I had
eating after the bar.
Eating McDonald's, eating after the bar. I will say that I was pretty good. Like, people that I worked with would literally laugh at me because sometimes at work, I couldn't, my body like literally can't handle alcohol. So like I wasn't drinking every single day, especially when I was working, but I would literally bring like almonds in a little container to have at 4 a.m. while I was waiting to cash out.
Good for you.
And people would be like ordering pizza, getting McDonald's, and I'd be like sitting there with my almonds all the time. Like,
that is discipline right there if I ever heard it.
But when I was in university from 17 until 22 also, I was going out. Yeah. It was rave era. It was very different times. Yeah. It was, but I think that's okay. I think that I don't really know what it's like to be in this world at such a young age, of course, because now I'm 33. And I think there is a lot of pressure, especially because of social media, to live this balanced girly life and to be able to do it all and have a drink, but also go for a run or make sure you're working out. And if you have pizza, make sure you're having a green juice for breakfast. Yeah. Like there's that whole idea, especially right now in this age of social media. But I think, but when you're like, 19 years old, yeah, of course, like be balanced to feel good, but also just enjoy. Yeah. Just like enjoy life. Like I'm happy that I had that in my 20s because I don't think I would be where I'm at right now in my 30s if I didn't already go through that and like experience that and have like the time of my life. But now I'm just tired.
So your advice would be live your life how you want. And if you want to have that balance, incorporate that into your life, but also there is phases that we go through and you wouldn't be where you are today if it wasn't for having those phases. Yeah. Like, of course, I'm not going to say like, rip it up everyone. And like, if you're 19, I'm like, so I should have a drink tonight. But I mean, don't feel pressured to just like live a full-time healthy lifestyle. Like your 20s are meant to have fun. Yeah. And I think that that's something that can kind of get lost. And of course, I want everyone, and I'm always inspiring everyone to live a healthy lifestyle and live a balanced lifestyle. So, if you want to, and you should for like health reasons, incorporate some wellness practices, intertwine that. But, have fun. Life is short. I saw one of your content, one of your things, I think it was the other day, or it was when I was creeping you. It was like, doing 2 workouts a day isn't going to make you any more healthier. Sometimes you're putting more stress on your body with doing that. And it hit me because I was the person for years of my life in undergrad doing 2 workouts a day because I would go out 3 to 4 times a week. And I was like, I have to do it because I drank more than I should. So I'm going to work out more than I should. And even now cutting down on the workouts and just, having less stress, I think helped. Not that I'm where I want to be. I've never had a great relationship with eating, or I've always been an extremist. Yeah. And I think I'm still kind of battling that, but it hit me because I'm like, no, you're so right. I've felt that. I've gone through that. And I think I'm coming to the other side. I'm not there yet. But what you're saying is now resonating with me, which it wasn't 365 days ago, like 1 year ago.
Okay. That's amazing. I think that there's this notion of doing more is going to give us results, and that's just kind of in society as a whole, but especially when it pertains to wellness and health. Like you said, doing 2 workouts, I don't want to say it's bad. Yeah, it's great to move your body, but it's not ideal. You definitely don't need to do that. You're putting more stress on your body, especially if you're already balancing that out and doing things like going out frequently, which is high stress on your body as well, because you're messing up your hormones, you're messing up your sleep, you're messing up, there's inflammation happening in your body. There's so much going on already, and then like forcing yourself to move 2 times a day to make up for that, your results probably aren't going to come any quicker doing that. It's more about, again, and it's annoying to say this, but just finding a balance and making a schedule that that balances everything out a little bit more, and not going so extreme. Like maybe go out one night less and spread out your workouts more evenly throughout the week. Like all of this at the end of the day puts so much less stress on our bodies, and that really is our goal. We want to calm our nervous system. We want to come into our calm girl era. We want to do less to feel good, but do it right and do it intentionally, and do, what actually makes sense to feel your best.
And I read somewhere, or someone told me at some point in my life, it's what 80% eating is like how you regulate weight gain and weight loss. So it's like how much you put in versus how much you're
calories in,
calories in versus calories out. Is that how you kind of like, what do you go through your day to day? Like, do you track your calories, or is it just you're prioritizing protein? What is it?
Yeah, I don't track calories or macros. I think that again just brings another element of time and stress into the equation.
Very stressful. Oh my gosh.
And I'm more about intuitive eating to fuel and nourish my body. I would say I do like an 80-20 balance. So 80% of the week I am having, my high protein meals. I'm having my celery juice in the morning. I'm having my lemon water. Like I'm doing all the things and eating all the foods that make me look and feel my best. And then the other 20% of the week, and it's not done all I don't have like a cheat day. I eat that 20% of food that isn't necessarily so healthy sporadically when I'm feeling like eating it throughout the week. Like last night, for example, it's cold. Day 1 of my menstrual cycle. I didn't want to make dinner because I make dinner every single night. And me and my boyfriend ordered smash burgers and fries. Okay. I feel like lot of, it's like, and I didn't double, I wasn't like, oh my God, I just ate the hamburger. Now I have to do a double workout tomorrow. Like I have to run, like I have to do all these things. Yes, I haven't always been here with that mindset. Yeah. I think when I was younger, I had a completely different relationship with eating and with working out in general. But where I am now, it's like I don't even flinch. I don't like, that is completely okay. And when you switch your mindset to that approach where food isn't, you're not fearful of food, and you're not scared of the things that you're eating and how they're going to affect your body, it goes back to what we were saying before. It's just, you're putting less stress and tension on your body. Your metabolism is going to work better. Everything is going to be work more optimally inside your body because you're just in a more steady, calm state.
And how did you get there though? Like, how did you go from a point where maybe you were worried and freaking out with, oh my gosh, I just ate a burger and fries. Like, oh my God, like, what do I do? Anxious maybe a little bit. How do you go from that to where you are now? Yeah. Like, what was it that did it? How did you get there?
I don't think there was one defining moment where all of a sudden it just clicked. I think it just came with time. I think also the pandemic was a huge transition for me. So prior to the pandemic, before my app Shape that I have now, which really is a balance of strength training, Pilates, mobility, I recommend to everyone every day to walk. That is such a great form of weight loss because when we're walking, our body is actually using fat storage as energy versus glucose. And when we're running, I used to also think that running would make me skinny.
I still think it, so I'm excited to hear this.
Yeah, when it actually is using glucose as the energy store versus fat storage. Not to say that...
What exactly does that mean, though?
So glucose, it's using carbs, basically. Okay. It's using carbs as energy versus in sugar. And with the walking, you're using your fat storage as energy.
Oh, so it's targeting it. That's what is going to be...
Yeah, that's the energy source that your body is using.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, and it's not to say that if you're running, you can't lose weight. Yes, if you're running every single day, you probably are going to lose weight, but it's like, don't do any form of movement if you're not actually enjoying it.
In what way? Like it's going to cause stress on you, or
well,
just
like
because...
you shouldn't. Like if you don't love running, but you're running every day because you think you're going to be skinny, it's like, first of all, that's not sustainable. And second of all, it's not like, why are you doing that?
And there's so many other things.
That's what I mean. There's other effective ways, like going for a nice walk, listening to a podcast, obviously yours.
This one.
Obviously your podcast, calling a friend or just being in nature and like not doing anything. And
having that as your pastime. Yeah.
It is so good for you. And I know I was talking about something else and we kind of got off on this rampage, but I saw a girl that I know that lives in my building.
Okay.
I hadn't seen her in a couple months, and I saw her about a month ago in the gym. She was walking incline on the treadmill, and I was like, oh my God, like you lost so much weight. And she was like, yeah, thank you. Like I've just been walking every single day.
Was it 10-3-30? Do you think that she was doing?
She like at that time she was doing an incline walk, but it's not even about the 10-3-30. It's just about walking every day, aim for 10,000 steps.
Okay.
If people tell me that they can't lose weight, but they don't walk 10,000 steps a day, I'm like,
that's the reason.
I'm not saying that that's the reason, but try.
Okay.
And then report back because making that change is, one out of not a lot, but one out of the few missing pieces to the puzzle that a lot of people aren't prioritizing. That's so simple and easy. Walking. That they can start incorporating into their daily life and see like massive change right away. That was one thing for me during the pandemic. But what I was going off on before that was I would really just focus on strength training and conditioning. So running, a lot of sprinting. I would force myself to do like 5 to 8 kilometer runs a few times a week. And I was going to the gym, driving, 30 minutes to get there, forcing myself at least an hour because I thought that, I had to be like, if I'm not doing an hour, I'm not doing anything. Yeah, I'm not doing anything.
If you go to the gym, you're there for an hour.
But sometimes I was even there for like an hour and a half if I was like lifting really heavy, but I never felt good. Like I never felt like I was never so like
what
toned
do you mean by that?
And happy with how my body looked. I always was a little bit like inflamed.
Like the skinny fat?
Like I don't want to say skinny fat. Like I was still fit. Yeah. Of course. I'm teaching like a handful of people every single day to work out. And I'm in this world. And at the time, like I thought that I looked good. And I still think I looked good then. But when I compare my body then to now, it's like literally night and day. And I started doing less when the pandemic happened. I couldn't go to the gym anymore. I was forced not to lift heavy. Also being in this like training world, maybe it's different now, but in Toronto, like kind of the people I was surrounded by and the world I was in, it was like, if you're not deadlifting with heavy weights and you're not squatting with a barbell and you're not doing all these things, like you're not a trainer. Yeah. If you're not sled pushing, you're not, you're
just doing Pilates.
Yeah. Like you're not doing it right. I used to see girls like at the gym with their ankle weights, doing kickbacks on the bench and look at them and be like,
is that even doing anything?
I wouldn't obviously say anything, but in my head, I was like, you're like, that's so stupid.
Yeah, you're wasting your time.
And now that's me every single day doing Pilates kickbacks with my ankle weights, the happiest, the leanest, the strongest that I've ever been. And it really was like a major shift from doing so much to doing less, but doing the right thing.
So what's your weekly breakdown? Like, do you do any heavy lifting at all?
I do strength training still. So on my app, our weekly schedule is strength Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But when I say strength,
what do you mean?
I mean like you can use anywhere from a 5-pound dumbbell to like a 20 to 25-pound dumbbell, 30-pound, however far you want to push it with the weights that you have accessible to you. Use them. But I typically, my heaviest would be like, well, for upper body, like 15, maybe a 20-pound for a chest press. And then for lower body, for like squats, I could do, 220 or 225-pound dumbbells, like still heavy, like still weight, but not being forced to deadlift like 150 pounds and then my back hurting for 2 weeks because of it. So we have that Monday. We have a full body on Monday. Okay. Wednesday arms. Friday lower body.
All with weights.
With weights. Tuesday and Thursday are Tuesday's mobility and abs.
Okay.
So stretching, recovery. A big thing that I think a lot of programs, a lot of trainers, a lot of people don't really focus on is stretching and mobility.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever stretched.
Yeah, that's like such a big modality for me and something that I've always placed a lot of emphasis on because of just injuries that I have experienced in the past and having to rehab from them. And then Thursday is like a Pilates, a tone and flow. So that's like our ankle weight, 3-pound, 1-pound, 2-pound dumbbells, more of a flow. And that's kind of trickled in as well in our other days. But Thursday's like the full dedicated.
Day. Yeah.
Saturday's a rest day. And then Sunday, it's just kind of whatever I'm feeling like schedule, but something quick, like a 10-minute cardio or a 10-minute Pilates, 10-minute abs, something like that.
Okay, I like that. And how long are the other workouts from Monday to Friday?
They range anywhere from 25 to 45 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's
very doable.
It's very doable. All you need to do is show up to your mat. You can do a lot of the workouts with literally nothing. Even if you want to do your lower body day with no weights, that's totally fine. You can do it body weight.
And I know you do obviously content on the side of that too, and that probably takes up a lot of your time for not only your personal page but also the Shapeco page. So how do you put effort into also finding time and things for your actual account? I know you do a lot of relatable content too. You do a lot of lifestyle things too, the nutrition posts and recipes and things too on your personal page. What's like the breakdown with that too? And do you make any money out of your personal page?
Yeah, content creation, working with brands has been something that I've been monetizing really since almost the very beginning.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I would say even more so when I had like 20, 30,000 followers still living in Toronto. It's such a smaller pool there and it was it was way less saturated in such a different world. I was working with Reebok, Asics, Lululemon. Like I was working with really big brands even like years ago, even when I was a smaller creator. Again, it's a different climate now for that.
For sure.
Fast forward to now, yeah, that's definitely a big part of my business as well. I work with lots of brands, even upcoming this month, working with a couple of my favorite supplement brands.
That's
which
exciting.
Is exciting. I also was working with Amazon Live last year. I traveled to London, England to do an activewear partnership. So yeah, it's definitely a substantial part of my income. And I have an agency that helps me with all of my content. So a lot of what you see on Shape is just repurposed content. Like we have files like I have tens of thousands of like videos and photos. Like I have so much
like videos
content.
From your like trainings?
Not even just of content that as a creator, you're always filming.
Always.
You're always getting content.
Everything is content.
Everything you're repurposing it. You're using it. I take advantage of, situations that I'm in when I'm going out for dinner, when I'm with a friend who also likes to take photos or videos. But I think when I first started, I was way more like engulfed in it 24/7 versus now when you've kind of been doing it for a long time. And as you get older, you learn a more moderate balance of like not having your life consumed by your content.
It can be
consumed. It can be, and it happens. And I think that happens to every creator. And there's a fine line of, taking advantage of a moment in terms of content, but also still living in that moment and like
being present.
Keep it moving. Like I get it, and I'm like, okay, like let's
take
go.
it, put the phone down. Then you're having your meal. You know,
whenever I go out and I want to take a photo of my outfit, I'm always like, okay, babe, like you need to just like take the photo and like we move on.
Make it really good, and then we put it down.
Yeah, we take a couple photos and like before we go to the restaurant, and then like I'm not on my phone. I'm not. I'm not like. I'm not even looking at it until the next day.
Yeah, and I seem like I've just started doing content like full time 3 months, but I feel guilty for the people around me when I'm, asking someone to take a picture of me when I'm out or whatever, because I know that I don't want it to be the entire time, and I don't want that to be the focus, but it is also like a part of our job too as content creators. But it is a good thing if it's like, okay, listen, I know and I'm aware that not everyone wants to watch me take pictures the whole time in content. So
you need to like find your balance.
Yes, exactly.
And I think if you're around people who truly understand what you're doing, they want to support you, they're your real friends, they will, get it and participate. Like, give me like 2 minutes, give me 5 minutes, and then we can move on from this. But like, this is my job. Yeah. This is how I make money.
I do need to do this.
Yeah. This is how I put food on my table. So you can deal. Like, it's okay.
It's true. And the people that are that understand it, like you were saying, aren't going to be bothered.
Resentful.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if it was like being too much, I'm sure they would tell you in a nice way.
Yeah, I think you need to make sure that it's not too much.
Like, check me if I need to be checked. Yeah.
Because it can be annoying. I do get it.
So let's talk relationships. You've been dating your boyfriend now for, you said, a year and a bit?
A year and a half.
Okay. And how did you meet him? Did you meet him in Miami?
I met him at Paddle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, no way. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can find your boyfriend in Paddle.
I manifested it. Yeah. I knew that it was going to be a really good spot to meet a man.
Okay.
And I was right.
And in your relationship, is there any non-negotiables? Like, I was going to ask you, would you date someone that isn't into fitness? But obviously you're in a relationship. Do you guys incorporate fitness a lot into your relationship as well? Or is that just something you kind of do and what's that like?
To be honest, I wish he would participate.
You're like, listen to this.
A little bit more. His workout, he's French. I mean, he's not, well, he grew up in France. He grew up in Paris.
Which is a whole different lifestyle.
A whole different lifestyle. Yeah. And so working out has never really been like a big part of his life. Yeah. But his work, like him going to the gym is him going to Paddle. Yeah. So
I got it.
Like even right now, he's literally at Paddle right now. He plays almost every single day.
Oh, wow.
But he is 10 years older than me.
Okay.
So he's 43. And I drill in his mind, in his head every single day that you need to start strength training because as we get older, we lose bone density, we lose muscle mass, and you don't need to be concerned for that for like a couple years or, 5 or 6 years. But especially once you hit 30, for a woman, especially once you hit 40, strength training is so important. So I heard him to the physiotherapist last week, finally, like, cause obviously I love working out. I invite him to the gym all the time. I try to get him to come with me.
You're like, I'm going.
He just doesn't like it. He just doesn't like it. But I heard him to the physiotherapist last week. He was like, so, do you think you could train me 2 times? And I was like,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like so excited.
That's a milestone.
Yes, because I've told him so many times, like, train. But it just goes to show, like, you can't force someone to do something that they don't want to do. They will do it maybe when they're ready. But ideally, like, I would love to go to the gym with my boyfriend. I think that's like so fun.
I think it's so fun. Like when I've had relationships in the past, I'm single now, but when I've had relationships in the past, one of my favorite things to do is go to like a class with them.
Yeah, it's very motivating.
And it's like you both are doing something good for yourself, spending time together, and just, I mean, it's hot seeing your significant other sweating and working out with you and stuff too. So it's like a fun yet somewhat romantic thing to do together.
I agree.
And talking about the age gap, 10 years, I've dated people that are 10 years and I don't see anything in it, but is there any like differences that you like or dislike about the 10-year age gap?
No, I would say that if you looked at him, you would think that he's my age. He acts, about 20 years younger. So no, just kidding.
They all do.
All men do. No,
at least 20 years younger.
He's very like playful and lighthearted. So he has more energy than I do.
Okay. So he's at paddle every day.
He's at paddle every day. He's very social, likes to go out, can be out and then wake up early and do his thing and work and not be affected by that. Everyone's very different with how they can, deal with the amount of sleep that they're getting or lack thereof. But no, I wouldn't say there's really a difference. Obviously, having a boyfriend that's in his 40s, he's more mature. He's more experienced with life. He can, provide a lot of good insight and support and I guess like information and help with my business and in other aspects of life. So no, better than that, not right now.
Yeah. And I think honestly, more and more now people are having bigger age gaps and people are all like also taking more time with your significant other, getting married and then having kids right away rather than getting married at a younger age, waiting, then having kids. So we're all, a lot of relationship stuff is changing in the past 5-6 years. Yeah. So I don't mind it. I'm like, okay, more time for me to actually find someone. Yeah, that's
absolutely.
Great.
You should be in no rush.
Yeah, I'm in definitely my singler. And like I just started the podcast. That's on the back burner for now.
Yeah, I got to dial in.
Yeah, but I don't know if you saw a bunch of my content. I do a lot of dating talk and talk about that kind of stuff just because it's my life as of now. But we do this series that's called Date or Ditch. So essentially a bunch of people wrote in some like worst date stories and we react to them as to give advice on should you keep talking to them? Should you maybe ghost them? Should you give them another chance? Okay. So I have 2 for us to kind of go through here today and give them some advice. And they love it because they're getting real-time advice from us. And you're in a relationship, so what better person? I mean, there's probably a reason why I'm single, but we won't get into that. So the first one is I labeled it the catfish surprise. So someone wrote in, Sarah, this one's bad. I met this guy on a dating app and he looked so hot in his photos, like model material. When we met in real life, he was at least 20 years older, 40 pounds heavier, and straight up said, sorry, I used my nephew's photos. I figured I'd get more swipes. I was so shocked. I just sat there while he ordered us drinks like nothing was weird. I made it through one round, then faked an emergency call and ran. Honestly, I don't blame her for faking an emergency call.
I mean, this was a lot in one. For even sitting down, I would have been like, "What the fuck?"
I would have been like, "No, your nephew's photos? Not even like, even if it was like, okay, these pictures were taken 2 years ago." I would have been like, maybe you should have updated the photos. But then I'd sit down. But using a total like, isn't that like a scam?
Yeah, that's a big catfish. How old is she? Did
she didn't say that.
I feel like, again, if this happened to me in my early 20s, I probably would have sat down and had the drink.
Because you would have felt bad? Or?
I don't know. Like, I think that you just are, it's more difficult maybe for you to stand up or for you to
you're in a tough position.
Say what you're thinking. Like, now I would literally be like, what the fuck? Like, that's so fucked, and I would leave. Like, I don't care. Like, I have no filter. Like,
she also didn't sign up for this.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't sign up to go on a date with you. Where's your nephew?
Yeah, where's the nephew?
Where is he?
Yeah.
And his nephew's probably in the relationship.
Yeah.
So we're ditching this.
Oh, big time.
Like you're ditching it where you're not even sitting down. You were just saying, what the fuck is this? You're lying to me.
That's like so weird.
Yeah. I think I'd sit down and be like, can you explain why you even did this? Like, I need to know why. And then I'd say, but we're not going any further here.
Yeah.
I'll take the free drink.
Oh, I wouldn't.
Just because I'm already dressed up.
Right.
I'm already there.
Yeah.
And then I'd ask him to Uber me home because that would probably be expensive.
But then he would have your
address.
True. Get the
Just
cash.
take the free drink.
Get the cash.
Yeah. Do you have any cash on you? I need to ride home. Okay, so that one was a ditch. They don't get much better, by the way. They're all kind of traumatizing. And I picked some good ones just so they were spicy. The next one I labeled the check splitter gone wrong.
Oh, boy.
So I went on a date with this guy who insisted we try this super fancy steakhouse. He ordered everything, steak, lobster, cocktails. And I just got a salad and a soda because I didn't want to rack up the bill. At the end of the meal, he says, let's split it. And my half was $300. I said no, and he literally Venmo requested me the next morning. First of all, I don't know if this is rude, but I don't think a woman should pay on the first date ever. Mm-hmm. But also, if you're splitting it and you know that you ordered a lot more than somebody else and you're asking them to split.
Weird. Yeah, it's so weird.
This is dating now.
Yeah, I'm so happy.
Are you happy? Yeah. Is this making you more appreciate your relationship?
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm so happy to not
deal with this.
Dealing with that. But if someone's inviting you to dinner and they're taking you to a fancy spot and they're ordering all this food, like, in what world are we splitting the bill?
And also, it costs a lot of money for girls to get ready, put a full face on. Sometimes when you're so excited, you get a new outfit and things like that. And then to ask us to split the bill, where is chivalry?
Yeah. I
split it with somebody else.
I definitely do think that men should pay on the first date.
Me too.
And if they aren't, that's a red flag, and you should probably, like, never talk to them again.
No.
I think there's something about being in a relationship where, like, the man doesn't feel like he has to pay all the time. Like, I think majority of the time, yes, because like you said, we're spending so much money on our hair, on our nails, on our makeup. Yeah, like, we need to be well kept. And so, but there is something about, like, you know, going for a lunch and being like, okay, like, this one's on me. Like, I want to treat you today.
Yeah, or like just bringing coffee to him, or, you know, like doing little things too that.
I think that is nice. Like, once in a while we can manage, as long as you have the means. But I think that for a woman, we should always prioritize making money for ourselves.
Yes.
And having something for ourselves. Obviously, there's like different circumstances where maybe 100%. That's not going to be the case. You're a mom, you're this, whatever. Okay, fine. But for the most part, I mean, Miami's full of women that are just looking to be taken care of full time. Yeah. And that New York. Don't have jobs. I mean, it's everywhere. It's even in Toronto. I'm sure. It's everywhere. But Miami's the homeland. Yeah. I had a friend back in the day when I was still working in the club where, like, she would just be brutally honest with men and be like, yes, I am looking for someone to take care of me. She was still working at that time because she wasn't there yet. She had to. But that was her goal. And she found a man that wanted to be in a relationship with a woman that he could take care of. Yeah. And now they have a kid, and now they're, like, happily ever after 10 years later. But, you know, when you're honest and upright about it, but a lot of women even fake having jobs. Yeah. Like, oh, I'm a realtor, or, oh, I sell, like, medical, and they don't actually have jobs.
Why would you even lie?
Because they want to appear that they do, so that because they know a lot of men, especially now, men are so tainted. They don't want to be, or they don't want to be with a woman that, you know, can't take care of themselves because maybe they don't want to take care of them. Yeah. But I have a few rapid fire questions because I know we're coming to an end. Are you one of the people that have bone broth, like, on the side of, like, meals? I wish, but no. So I went out for dinner with a friend and a few guys, and one of the guys ordered bone broth with his drink. Oh. Because he said that it helps you not be hungover the next day. Okay.
Never heard of that
Never
before.
heard of it helping with a hangover. It has so many nutrients, so it
Heard
kind
that.
of makes sense. But like that's again something where it's like just have the drink.
Just drink the drink.
Just drink the drink and like forget about the bone broth. Like that's weird.
But then I was like, I'm like, should I order bone broth tonight when I get a drink?
Oh, I don't think so.
I don't know if many restaurants
have bone broth, but you could have it in the morning.
Okay. First, people just kind of coming into their fitness journey and things, what are things that you've kind of realized or things that not a lot of people talk about?
I'm going to start with the walking.
Yeah.
Again,
No, that's a good one.
Yeah, I tell
I'm
everyone,
gonna implement that in my life.
Something that I preach all the time, get your steps in. Another one would be don't skip out on stretching and mobility, especially for longevity, but just being more open and light and releasing tension in your body in general. Like it does wonders for our body in ways that we don't even know in terms of like calming everything down and bringing down that nervous system and just letting go. So definitely focus on that. And then it also gives you more range when you're working out. If your hips are more open, you can have more depth in your squat.
True.
If your hamstrings aren't as tight, you're able to hinge more in your deadlift. So
great point.
That is something great that I think a lot of people skip over. And then my third tip would be don't underestimate the power of, a couple pounds. So doing arms with 3-pound dumbbells, doing like a 10-minute series with that. Like you can seriously exhaust your muscles while toning up and strengthening. Like we don't need, kind of goes back to that notion of like we don't need like 20-pound dumbbells in our hands every single day. Yeah. You can get amazing results from home. You do not need to go anywhere. Yeah. Pull up your mat in your living room or just do it on the carpet. It literally doesn't matter. Yeah.
And last question, in regards to social media, if someone wanted to, create a platform, whether it be for a fitness account or a lifestyle account or beauty, whatever it is for them, what is a few tips that you would give them if they wanted to get started today? How did you grow your platform?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, just start. Just do it. I think that, even when I started my app, I could have waited months and I could have delayed it but I just got the first version of, it wasn't even called Shape, it was called Sweat with Kelsey.
That's cute too, but I like Shape.
Yeah, out there like as soon as I could. I think that's same with social media, like just start posting. You don't be ashamed, don't be scared, don't worry about what other people are going to think. Just do it. You need to start testing. You need to see what is going to resonate with your audience, what's going to click, what people want to see, and just start posting content that you feel passionate about that's in your niche. And that's where you need to start so that you can grow.
And that's like attainable for them because you can't post things that you're not going to be doing every day.
Yeah.
If you're going to just fall off the wagon on that. Well, thank you so much, Kelsey, for coming on the podcast. You were so fun to talk to and you were so beautiful inside and out. So I appreciate you coming on. And thank you guys for watching. I love you and I will see you next Thursday.